Hello guys, how you guys doing today? It's your girl again, Boss Baby Talk, as you already know. Right now we're at Assin Manso, the Ancestral River Park, and with me here I have Nilaye, who is going to be showing us around and tell the history of this place. Over to you, Nilaye.
You're welcome to Assin Manso, where we have the last slave river. But I'm here supporting Boss Baby Talk.
So you welcome to Assin Manso. My name is Kofi, the priest of Assin Manso, and you welcome, and we're going to tell you everything that happened in history at the Assin Manso Ancestral River Park.
So guys, let's get right into the video.
One of the largest slave markets, which was documented by many historians like J.E. Akwanda in his book entitled The Transatlantic Slave Trade, Landmark, Legacies and Expectation. We all have our sister, Ekuaduma Pebi, in a book entitled Indigenous Slavery in Ghana from the 16th century to the 19th century. Likewise, W.E. Ward, who was a British historian, in his book entitled The Short History of Ghana. So all these historians made the claim that Assin Manso was one of the biggest slave markets during the trade. Now, whenever the captives were brought to the slave market to be auctioned out, they go through the first auction, they go through the first branding, and they take their last bath in here before they are made to walk in chains and shackles.
They take their last bath?
Yes, before they were made to walk in chains and shackles to the Cape Coast dungeons, Fort Comantin, and Elimina dungeons. But when they go to that dungeons, there's this particular door that all our brothers and sisters use before going to the slave ship, and the name is the Door of No Return. But now that things have changed, now that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora are coming back to their roots as at when they love to return, there is a need for us to change that perception, that writings on the walls of the dungeon from the Door of No Return to the Door of Return. And the question is, how do we do that? That is why, as you can see in our ancestral graveyard, we have the mortal remains of our two great ancestors. First, from the right, we have Madam Crystal. She was from Kingston, Jamaica. And we have Samuel Carson from New York, US of A. The two mortal remains re-entered the country on the 31st day of July 1998 through the infamous Door of No Return at Cape Coast Dungeons in changing to the Door of Return. The following day, being the 1st of August, these two were buried here. So that informed us as a nation to celebrate our Emancipation Festival.
Oh, these are the two bodies they brought?
Yes, yes.
But, you know, they don't know where actually they're from.
Yes.
In part of Africa.
Africa, yes.
Okay.
Then the third tomb was brought in here recently during the Year of Return celebration, 11th of November 2019, by the Prime Minister of Barbados, Her Excellency Mia Amomotli. She said it was mortal remains that were picked from all slave cemetery in Barbados. Every bones that they had, they brought them together just for them to have a peaceful rest in here. This land has been reserved for those of our brothers and sisters who have their bodies cremated, so that they have their ashes on this land. And Assin Manso is also noted for more rituals. Yes, because in 2003, this place was documented to be one of the pilgrimage places of Africa. So that whenever you come in as Africans, you one day come and connect with your ancestors, with their spirit, and with yourself. So where we are now, all serves as graveyard. So those that lost their life, they were buried everywhere in here. So we are basically standing on the graves of our ancestors. That is why when you come in here, we allow you to buy a bottle of rum, so that we'll pray and ask them to lead us in order to walk through their graves to the river. So now we're just going straight to the river.
Oh, okay.
During the trade, some of our brothers and sisters engage in the trade. But you know, in chronological manner, there were stages that led to the acquisition of captives. Okay. Yes, there were 3 stages that led in a chronological way. The first stage was through kidnapping and deceit.
Oh.
With this kidnapping and deceit, it was basically championed by the Europeans. When you go to Anumabo, there are so many stories to tell when they deceived the people to the slave ship, in order to make fun or have merry. And before they realized, they were in the middle of nowhere. Some also happened at Kita and the rest. So that was the first one acquisition. It wasn't giving them so many captives to fill the new world, which was found in 1492. So they went to the second stage of acquisition, which was when they partnered some warriors, give them guns, make them powerful, in order to bring them more captives. Oh. So you have the Babatu, the Sumuro Tourists, and the rest.
They also got some from other.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we have the third one was when the chiefs came in. And they were a little bit selfish, giving their people. So this particular part that we are working on is called Ancestral because it was developed by the feet of our ancestors. So one of the rituals that we do, as I said earlier, this is more of rituals. So one of the things that we do here, when we are going through the rituals, you only go through the ritual before you can do this. And I'm not going to tell you details in the rituals on this, but this particular part during the ritual session, we do work on this part with our shoes off, because it was the path that was walked or designed by the feet of our ancestors. And when we go in there, there's many things that we do while walking on this path. So let's walk straight to the river.
Okay.
So sometimes when you walk into this path, it's a way of saying thank you to their ancestors. We always tell them our ancestors should not necessarily be the abolitionists and the freedom fighters who fought for us. But sometimes you have somebody who was so good to you, but that person is no more. You wish you could have the opportunity to say thank you to whatever he or she does have done for you. So whilst we're working on this sacred path, we try to connect with them, and we try to tell them thank you for their roles in our lives. So people sometimes yield to singing whilst they are walking through the sacred path to the river. Because not until 1998, nobody was allowed to come in here. It was only the chief and the priest, because all the rituals in this community were performed in there. So when the site was opened in 1998, people started coming in. Yes, but they are in talk with the government, and there's some compensation package that is being designed for them so that they can take them from the site, in order to build this place to look like how Muslims go to Mecca and Christians go to Israel, just like Africans should also come in here, because it's a very big area that we need to develop.
So they bring them down here is to come and have their livestock?
Yes.
Or they just came by themselves?
Okay, so during the trade, we have so many enslaved Africans that were stolen, but there are other places that have the strongest of captives that was in the northern part. Captive that was captured from the northern part of Ghana and its adjoining countries, they were captured and brought to the Salaga market because they knew that when they are able to travel from Salaga to Assin Manso, because the castles is around the coast, it is very easy for them to trade in those people. So we were feeding in the market at Salaga. So they walked 300 miles from Salaga in chains and shackles, barefooted and afflicted, to Assin Manso.
Wow. So these are the names of chiefs selling the people, or?
Okay. So as I said earlier, this place was seen as a place that nobody was allowed to come here. It was the chief, so all the rituals were performed in here. So this room was supposedly to be our stool room. A stool room is where chiefs get their names from. Yeah, so when you and I have been installed as a chief, as a good chief, you have a blackened stool. Your stool is smeared with the blood of an animal. It becomes black, and you have your name on it because you are a good chief. If I die as a good chief, or I die as a bad chief, my wives will have added an history and it will be thrown aside. And there's a deliberate effort that they make sure the community don't even remember you or mention your name. But when you have a blackened stone in here, then it means tomorrow some other chief might choose your name. So when the time comes for the names, the chief will come to this room blindfolded, and all the blackened stones will be here. So the one that he chooses, the name on it becomes his name. You will not be able to choose your name, but you're going to choose somebody's name. But later, if you are a good chief, somebody someday will also choose your name. So that was what was performed in here. So these are the list of some chiefs with the blackened stones. These are also some of the bad chiefs of this community, which, according to oral history, most of them also engage in the trade.
Okay.
But in Assin Manso, Assen, the name Assen means travelers, people that are just passing through. So research has it that majority of us that formed this community were some of the captives who managed to escape.
Okay.
And we didn't know how to return to where we were captured. So we formed in here. So everything that concerns our ancestors, we didn't joke with them because we're in the same chains and shackles with them. But maybe we were saved for us to tell our story for this sake. So let's get to the rest.
This rituals that we go through, we don't take videos of it because we believe that it's our personal encounter with our ancestors.
Oh, when they go inside?
Yes, we go through almost 7 rituals that we perform anyway. And also when we have we come with a group and that is what we do here. So this river is a very big river, but because we are now experiencing our rainfall, so it's getting higher, and sometimes we crack really rough banks. But they are two separate rivers, they're not the same river. They are two separate rivers. From this point, we have Ama Emisa.
Ama Emisa from here?
Yes, that's facing direction.
Okay.
Yes, and Ama Emisa is getting its source from a river called the Pra River. When you go to Kumasi, you see the river on your way.
Okay.
It was the first sorting out, it was where the first sorting out took place when they were coming from Salaga.
Okay.
When they got to the Pra River, because they knew they are getting closer to Manso, those that were not marketable were brought out of their chains and shackles and they were dumped in that river to die.
Wow.
So that is where this one is getting its source from. Then we have this river also getting its source from the township. And the name of this river is Nonko Usio. Yes, so Nonko means slave and Usio means river. But in the rainy season, they use only the Nonko Usio because the Nonko Usio, it is always still and stagnant, it doesn't move. So because of that, they were scared. And this part rose over and looks very scary. So because of that, they were scared that when they use this river, they might either drown or escape. So they use the stagnant one to wash the captives. So in the badges of things still in chains and shackles, while you are even there washing, the raiders will be on top of this hill, pointing their guns at you. So anyone that tries to escape is either you'll be shot or you'll be saved. That did not deter any one of us from escaping. Most of us were killed. And they said we were rebellious. But I call them freedom fighters because they fought for their right. Now, during those era, there was this wild reptiles like the crocodiles and other things in this river. And these crocodiles also fed us so many of our ancestors. So, likewise, those that came out from the river and they were killed somewhere in here because they were trying to fight for their rights. All those that lost their lives on the land were buried on land and they were buried right there. So all these ones are called the Ancestral graveyard. And in 2017, the University of Cape Coast Archaeology Department, they came to excavate this part of the land in search of material evidences. They did have those evidences. They did conclude in the books that I mentioned earlier, but the chiefs became so much annoyed and said, no, from today, nobody should ever come to this site to excavate. Because for once, we should allow our ancestors to have this rest. So when you come in here, you have a ritual on the land, and you also have a ritual in the water, so that your ancestors will know and know you well. So after the bath, they drag you here to where my senior brother is standing, make you go through vigorous exercises in addition just to determine how stronger you are. Then they smear you with palm oil and shea butter just for you to go through the first auctioning, the first branding. And those that were able to go through that successfully were those that were putting back into their chains and shackles. That is those that were taken to the Cape Coast dungeon, those that were taken to the Cape Coast dungeon to avoid the slave ship and moved to the Caribbean and the Americas. But those that couldn't make it in here, they were buried and they were killed and buried all around in here. So this particular site is a very spiritual and a very sacred site. That's whenever you are even here, you shouldn't be scared of anything because you get covered. Yes. So basically, in terms of what really happened in Assin Manso, I always tell people everything that I've said does not come closer to what we endure. This truth to speak, we will not even have the ears to listen. We tell them, please say no more, because it's too painful. And the most worst form of human rights abuse that this world has ever suffered. But as we say,
it should never happen again. So basically, in Assin Manso, in terms of the history, this is what really happened at Assin Manso.
Thank you.
You're welcome. In fact, when the river is like this, that would be the use book. This river is also written.
Activating them or
this is after going. This is the last stage. This is the ownership stage. This is when somebody needs to own you. Depending on the alphabet, your merchant content will be branded with. So it is this war.
this is the name of the people that have been
that
here.
have returned. Yes, and these are.
Oh, these are the names that have returned.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, we are taking stock of all our brothers and sisters that have returned back to their root.
Oh, okay.
We want their coming to be very symbolic, just like Madam Christian, Sama cousin. We also wanted to integrate them into the community in order to at least support the community in growing. So this was, according to the government, during the year of return celebration. All the names in here, forget about the White House, but all the names have been documented. And the government said they wanted to engrave it in front of the car park, boldly and count them as those that have returned. So to have your name go through on this war, it goes for a fee. Because of, at first, government was making the donation, but people were making money out of it. And we have so many scholarship schemes that we run for these schools around. So the government said because of accountability, it is going to give you a line like this.
That sounds good, and that's actually this will actually show that you've been here as well. So this is good.
And I can't wait for the project, for the big project, so that when you come into the car park, very big, and you all be seeing and you say, wow, I've been
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.